Right, okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dubious Engineering. This is take 3, I think. In front of you, there is a nice smiley face. It's Ian in London. And Ian...
How you doing, Howard?
Very well, mate. How are you?
Good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Ian flies quadcopters, and actually some time ago I purchased a quadcopter because it was cool, and also because I wanted to improve some of the footage that I had on my YouTube channel. So I went in search of instructions on how to go ahead and use that particular quadcopter, a DJI Mavic Pro, and YouTube directed me towards your channel. I watched your channel in eager anticipation of sort of learning something useful, and I wasn't disappointed, mate. It worked out really well. I'm very happy that I found you and your channel.
Good.
How long have you been flying quadcopters?
Well, about 5 years now, I imagine. Started off with the cheapest, crappiest little £20 non-GPS, but it did have a tiny camera drone imaginable. That lasted about 3 flights, couldn't control it, went haywire. Lost woodlands, thought that was all there was to drones. Then saw an article on the BBC, it's still going back, I said, about 5 years ago, and there were some beautiful pictures from some chappie in Romania who said it was flying a DJI Phantom 2.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, so actually you can get drones with decent cameras that you can control. So I did a bit of little research and ended up buying myself a Phantom 3 standard. And that, you know, the first time you fly a drone, you're blown away with the perspective and the views you get. So, that was how I started about 5 years ago with the Phantom 3. Absolutely loved it. I can tell you what happens next if you want. A question.
Well, I must admit, every time, I mean, I've flown some of the small 19 quid drones like you're talking about there. Flown them in the kitchen just for a little bit of fun, just sort of trying to get used to them, spinning them around, and all of a sudden the controls change direction. So you're when you're flying back towards you, the left is right and the right is left. From your perspective, it's actually quite difficult in that sort of perspective, but when you go into sort of first person, things become a lot easier. It's like a computer game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if certainly if you are flying indoors, pretty much the very number one thing not to do if it's a big drone, because the drone will drift and hit the wall and the props will stop and it'll crash to the ground, and then you kind of run out of direction very quickly, so you turn it around and you're bringing it back towards you and you get confused and you knock all the ornaments off the mantelpiece. So flying indoors and then flying backwards or with it facing the other way, definitely the quickest way to crash and cause serious injury to your loved ones. But if you go outside and you do a bit of practice, flying a little figure of 8 is actually one of the best things you can do to get the hang of when left is right and right is left when it's coming towards you again. Did do a bit of FPV flying. I got the little Mavic, the Parrot Mambo, but it was a bit of a rubbishy drone, and I still want to get a decent FPV drone, but I've got quite a few already, so it's hard to, you know.
Yeah,
I think I'm on 8 and counting.
Justify another drone, absolutely. I did notice that you bought the new tiny Mavic Mini, yeah, that's it. So I'm an ex-photographer, still photography. So, you know, I used to shoot Canon and Nikon. In fact, I used to teach a little bit of photography as well. I shot at weddings, which was more crowd control than anything else, and making sure that you got everything sorted out and ready to go. You couldn't mess around at weddings. But my favourite pictures have always been sort of candid pictures, or candid pictures of people, or landscape photography. And you have some magnificent cinematic photography. In fact, I'll play some of that footage in just a few seconds. But you went to Iceland to shoot some drone footage?
Yeah, I was in Iceland in March this year. That was amazing, and we were really lucky because we had one rainy day, and the rest of the time it was literally snowing overnight and then sunny, frosty mornings. So it really couldn't have been better for us. So I got some amazing footage.
Yes, you did. I completely agree with you. It's beautiful to watch. It looks like BBC TV.
I'm sorry, I need to... This is what's going on here. I've got dog chaos going on around me, you see. I don't know if you can see there, but if you keep hearing... there's 3 of them just attacking each other. They've just had their dinner. Sorry now.
Not a problem at all. It must be difficult to concentrate with 3 lovely dogs running around.
No, it's just they're kind of like, after they've had their dinner, they have to have like 5 minutes of madness. They just keep running backwards and forwards. So you keep hearing, like that, it's the dogs just playing up. Yes, Iceland, great fun. Got some incredible footage, and really, really was an incredible place to visit with the drone. It's quite cool actually, because there's a lot of places there that it says no drones, and those are normally the places that are full of people anyway. So we went off the beaten track, and you get some incredible views no matter where you are, and as soon as you're off the beaten track, there's no one about. Just fly wherever you want. So that's what we did.
Yes, indeed. So there's quite a lot of rules, actually, aren't there, when it comes to flying drones that are a little bit heavier. So you're a certified drone pilot, if I'm not mistaken. Tell us what's
I've done my permission for commercial operations, but with regards to the rules for drones, they're actually incredibly vague and universal, shall I say. Basically, if it's under 20 kilograms, then you have the same rules applying to everything.
20 kilograms?
Which is one of the most stupid things, I think.
That's quite heavy.
Yes, it is. If a 20 kilogram drone falls on a car, yes, it would cause significant injury. If a 249 gram little Mavic Mini fell on a car, I don't think anything would happen at all. It's a bit stupid the way, and it's not just the CAA in the UK. Pretty much all countries around the world have the same sort of rules for all drones. They kind of lump them into may cause an injury, and also don't want to invade privacy. So if you've got a camera on your drone, as most of them do have, that's when the 50-meter bubble rules kick in. Can't fly over congested areas or congested, places with lots of people and the like. So, I think a lot of the rules are not as good as they could be, but you can always work with them and find suitable places to fly.
Absolutely. There go the dogs.
Now you know what to listen for. You're going to be editing all that out, or just let it go?
I think we're gonna keep it in, because they are beautiful. In fact, your dogs play a part of your YouTube channel, don't they?
Especially Ted. Ted's the most mischievous one, because he goes absolutely bananas every time the drones kick off. Once they're there, that's it. Once they're up, he doesn't care, and I can land right in front of them, and he just doesn't care. But it's that initial start-up, and then when it takes off, many of the videos have got him doing his little bark, and but it is quite funny actually. In fact, I know we're wandering all over the place here, but that's fine. When I'm shooting, I do a lot of filming outside in the garden, because obviously I'm flying straight out my back garden. I'm lucky that I live in the middle of farmland, and so I'm shooting not kind of aware of what's going on behind me. Quite often the dogs are walking around. I've had occasional humping of dogs and all sorts of things. And what's worse is if you're shooting a video and you need to edit out, if you make a mistake and you're like, oh, right, take that again, and you carry on. When you come to edit it, you realise that the first part there was a dog walking along, and then you kind of cut, and the next bit there is no dog, and you literally have dogs disappearing in mid whatever.
It's very difficult to ask them to go back to that spot again, isn't it? Can you take 3? Can we go back there, please? Yeah.
There's always things you can do. You can always do a cutaway to some picture, some bit of footage or whatever. I've always found a way of concealing inappropriate or untimely dog behaviour in the background. So
as a drone pilot and an experienced drone pilot like yourself, I understand that the rules have changed a little bit for the drones that are about a quarter pound, 250 grams or below. So what's the deal here?
Right. First of all, your metrics are dreadful, because it's a half pound, which is 249 grams. You've got to be international, Howard.
Thank you. Sorry, you're quite correct. Can I get permission to run that again? Are we keeping that in?
No, you're right. That's it.
We're keeping it in. We're keeping it in.
You can't convert grams to pounds. But, yeah. So the registration with the Mavic Mini, that really brought the minimum weight to a head. And when they announced it, the first thing I did was contact the CAA and the FAA in the USA. And I just said, my understanding is that any drone under 250 grams still needs to obey the rules, but doesn't need to be registered. Is that correct? And both organisations came back saying, absolutely. There's no minimum weight exemption on the rules. There is a minimum weight exemption on the registration. And in the UK, 30th of November this year, mandatory registration for all drones 250 grams and above. So the new Mavic Mini is exempt technically, but it's not exempt from all the rules. And because it's got a camera on, again, all the other rules like 50 meters away from people and buildings, they still apply, unfortunately. So, but yeah, all that's happening this year, this month really, is, as I said, in the UK, the registration becomes mandatory, or depending on when this video goes out, became mandatory on the 30th of November. And we, of course, can never do anything simply. We have to register as a legal operator, the person legally responsible for the drone, and that's what has to be displayed on the drone like a registration number. But you also have to take your little test and get your flyer ID, which doesn't go on the drone but just goes in your pocket, and you have to produce if challenged by a police officer. So there we are. You have two registration numbers, one of which has to be stuck, the other one just has to be kept on your person if challenged. Couldn't be simpler, could it?
No, that's pretty good. So I also have been taking advantage of some of the applications that you get for your iPad or your iPhone or your Android package, whatever it may happen to be. And I've noticed that around me there are some areas that are designated red areas, so I shouldn't be flying there. And also within airports as well, there's like a 2-kilometer exclusion zone towards the front and the back of an airport.
Yeah.
And
what I'm doing, I'm just looking up. Sorry, I'm not being rude. I'm actually looking for the what's it called? The NATS app is not Skywatch, Skywise, is it?
So I've got Drone Assist and Drone Buddy.
Drone Assist.
Yeah.
Drone Assist is the one by NATS. It's very, very good because. But you've got to remember that all it's doing is giving you the airspace regulations. And red is often bad, but if you tap it and drill down and check, quite often it'll just say care is recommended, or you must fly with care, implying that at other times you don't fly with any care, but still. But just because it's pink or red doesn't necessarily mean you can't fly. But equally, if you can't fly, it will tell you. But like I said, those apps only ever tell you about the airspace regulations. They won't tell you about the ground level regulations, as in how close you can fly to any buildings, whether or not it's a congested area like, a town or a village. So you've got to take it, you've got to use your own knowledge of the area coupled with what you get on the apps.
Absolutely, yeah. So you need to go ahead and do your research, use the couple of brain cells that you have, like me, I only have a couple of them, and make your own decisions based on the information that you're getting. So thank you, Ian, ever so much for joining us and talking about drones. I've got a quick question for you.
Sure.
Do you have any other...
Okay, there's a barking situation going on here, so I'm just going to actually get the dogs out, and then we'll just finish off with the other questions. Is that all right?
No problem at all, mate. No problem at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. Out we go. Come on.
What a lovely gentleman. What a lovely gentleman. And very experienced when it comes to flying drones as well. Check out some of his footage. It's really, really very cinematic footage. It's very, very pleasant to watch. I'm sorry, I was just telling people how nice it is to watch your footage. So do you have any other hobbies, Ian? Like motorbikes, perhaps?
Yeah. I've got me. I had an R6, a Yamaha R6 for 15 years, and then my wrists told me needed to get a more comfortable bike. Yep. So now I've got a GSR 600, and I actually did a bit of filming on the GSR 600 a few months ago with the Osmo Action and the Osmo Pocket, clipping them onto the handlebars and just seeing how well they did. Also, as some of my videos have obviously shown, I've got quite a big garden, and I don't have a gardener, so gardening, funnily enough.
Gardening is a hobby. Yeah.
On my hobby, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's nice to switch off and just cut the grass for an hour or whatever. But yeah, you know, between my day job, working in the City of London, then the commute, yeah, and then filming. And you know what it's like. You can spend an hour filming YouTube, spend 5 hours editing, and you end up with your 5-minute masterpiece. You know,
absolutely.
So it takes a lot.
Absolutely,
takes a lot of time.
That's
far more. I was going to say you get far more money just working at McDonald's than you would for what YouTube pays you on your if it's a monetized account. So, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian in London, please go ahead, check out his channel, check out some of the fantastic footage, and also check out some of Ian's instructional videos. They really are well worth looking at if you're a drone pilot, if you're somebody that's interested in getting into drones, even if you don't know and you just fancy sort of getting your head around what these flying recording devices are. Ian does a really good job of showing you what they are and talking you through the process of flying a drone. Ian, thank you ever so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Take care. Have a wonderful... We'll chat soon. You take care, mate. Okay?
Absolutely. Have a wonderful week and weekend, people. Right. Take care. Bye for now. Cheers.
Bye, mate.
Hey everyone, wow, check this out. This is some of Ian's drone footage in Iceland. Just magnificent views, superb control over the drone as well. Beautiful, beautiful. It makes me want to go there. Right, I'll shut up and let you watch. Look at that pan and tilt and birds flying. It's just absolutely magnificent. Beautiful waterfalls as well. Look how beautifully blue that water is. I'm sure he must be compensating with some neutral density filters. Look at the roads. I mean, what a magnificent place. You can see why people go there on holiday. Some beautiful ancient ruins. Oh, look at the way he does that. A little bit of editing trickery there. Magnificent though, absolutely magnificent views. I want to go where you go on holiday, Ian. Just beautiful, mate. Absolutely beautiful. So as I mentioned before, this is footage from the channel Ian in London. Go ahead and subscribe to him on YouTube. There he is.